Hi, welcome to Old Dog New Tricks. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the online selling options of setting up your own standalone selling operation versus perhaps the other approach, which is using a marketplace like Amazon or Facebook Marketplace or eBay. One of the really important things to realize when setting up any sort of online selling store is that it's not that different to setting up a shop in the traditional bricks and mortar sense. But with online selling, you have lots of different options to create different types of shopping experiences for your store. The best analogy I can think of is it's a bit like the difference between setting up a single store on a high street location versus setting up a shop in a busy shopping mall or something like that. With online selling, you can choose to do either. Now, for decades, people have done retailing by setting up single standalone shops, filling it with stock, and then marketing to attract customers to come and visit the store to actually buy something. And you can do something like that by using an off-the-shelf solution like Shopify. But also for decades, people have chosen to set up shops in specialist locations or hubs where there are lots of other stores selling similar products. Like you might see a shopping strip where there's lots of bedding stores or lots of homeware stores or lots of real estate agents or car dealers or something like that. People come to that general location to look at a group of stores that are selling similar things so they can compare features and prices before they buy something. And you can also do that approach via marketplaces like Amazon, Facebook, Etsy and eBay. So first, let's take a look at the single standalone shopping approach that you could take. With the standalone approach to online selling, what you'll be looking to do is to build a website with an online store from scratch. Perhaps using an existing platform like Shopify or getting a web developer to actually build you a store within your website from scratch. And after that, you have to select a range of products, mount marketing campaigns to get customers to come into your online store, to start and build a level of trust before people feel comfortable buying from you. For a typical online store, I'd guess that you have a solid 6 months of setting up the trading platform and then tinkering with prices and the costs of getting your products into your customers' hands. And you'll probably spend a large amount of that time wrangling customer interactions. For example, payments, product support, and returns. And you'll also have to wrangle your stock, which may be in your garage or in a storage facility somewhere. So why not build your own website? Well, for a beginner, I could argue that it's an unnecessary distraction when you're starting from scratch. It takes time, money, and resources that you could be funneling into driving traffic to your Amazon listing, by optimizing your product listing and also perhaps spending some of that money on online advertising tests. A standalone site might be useful in the future and probably important for when you're registering your brand, but if you're just starting out, you might want to keep this one on the back burner, for now at least. Another important consideration when you're setting up your own online store and site is you need to think about the fact that when people are shopping online, they're in a very different space to perhaps when they're searching for product information on things like Google or other sites. People will go to an online store like yours with the actual intention of buying something, or at least checking for a better price just prior to buying. And they've probably already been into a high street store to touch and feel the real product. So in this situation, things like customer reviews, your ranking, or your perceived scale or experience as an online seller are really important things that come into play. You've got to remember that most people are taking a leap of faith buying online, so trust is really important. But as someone building an online store, you need to remember that building trust comes via positive consumer reviews, smooth product delivery experience, and things like that. And that all takes time. If you just ask yourself, would you buy a toaster from a seller with 5 reviews, or would you buy the same toaster from someone with 100 positive reviews? So you need to factor that time to build trust into your planning and launch process, because building positive reviews won't happen overnight. Which reminds me, one simple thing that many e-tailers forget to do is go back and ask people who recently bought from their site for a review. This is a big missed opportunity, and you need to put a process in place to make sure your reviews are always growing. But the great news is once you build that level of trustability, your online site sales can really rocket. So setting up your own standalone store can have lots of positives and lots of negatives. It's a great thing to do if you're an existing brand or you have a significant presence for a long term in your local market and you already have built up a lot of trust and awareness with people. But it can also be the slower way of getting things up and going, because apart from doing the things that you have to do like product ranges and web development and stuff like that, you have to allocate extra time into doing that marketing to start to build that trustability with your customers to make sure that they feel comfortable buying from your site versus others. But a standalone shopping operation isn't the only way to go. The other way to do it is to set up your store in a busy marketplace alongside other sellers who all have similar products to sell. So now let's have a look at marketplace approaches. So sites like Amazon and eBay are classic marketplaces. And the thing that makes marketplaces work is the search function. So whether you're searching on Google or whether you're searching directly on sites like Amazon and eBay, you're ultimately presented with pages of very similar buying options that relate back to the words that you were searching for. And this is the most important thing to remember when considering selling on Amazon. Having a good product is just a small part of the equation. Successful selling on Amazon is a numbers game. And that numbers game is all about having your product appear high up in the Amazon search results at a good price that allows you to make a healthy profit. And in order to do that, you need to have a really deep understanding of how the competitors you're up against are performing with similar products to yours. If you spend some time researching sales activity online, either on Google or YouTube and things like that, or on the marketplace sites themselves, you'll find that there are many strategies for selling successfully on Amazon that you really need to understand first before you try any serious selling. And as I mentioned in my last episode, you really can't just rely on hunches when it comes to product selection and pricing. The other important thing you have to do when selling in an online marketplace is you have to steadily build up a strong brand and a list of great buyer reviews so people trust their decision to buy from you. And just having a great product isn't really good enough or a guarantee for success, because when you start on places like Amazon as a seller, you'll be at a distinct disadvantage versus other sellers there who are selling similar products but have a lot more history and stature and customer reviews out there than you have. I'll talk more about this numbers game in another episode. The most important thing about the Amazon marketplace approach is that it takes time and effort, because you're building something from ground zero. And it's really important that you don't just run in blindfolded. You really need to research, learn, start small, and then learn from your mistakes, because you will make them along the way. I can guarantee that. A relative newcomer to marketplace selling is Facebook Marketplace, so I thought I'd take a minute to talk about that. Marketplace is a simple platform integrated into your Facebook app that allows you to easily buy and sell products in your area. Marketplace works in a similar way to perhaps Craigslist, Gumtree, or others like that. And as it's part of Facebook, it means that everyone with a Facebook account can use it without having to create another profile. On the apps, Marketplace has a new tab beside notification, while on PCs it can be found on the left-hand quick page access panes right below Newsfeed and Messenger. As for the items that can be found on Marketplace, these can include a range of things from household items, gadgets, appliances, and even real estate. And users can simply connect with sellers via Facebook Messenger to strike a deal. To list one of your products on the Facebook Marketplace, just click the Sell Something button, which will open up the selling panel. And finally, it's important to realise that just like with a bricks and mortar store, selling on Amazon isn't just about sales revenue. It's all about cash flow and timing. And this is particularly important if you're sourcing and ordering your products from countries like China and Vietnam, and then shipping to other countries like the USA to sell it. You need to make sure that your timelines to order, produce, and ship items can live up to what you're offering to consumers, or you'll spend a lot of time answering angry emails. And you also need to make sure your cash flow is timed so that you don't run out of funds in the middle of a selling campaign, or perhaps you might need to fund unexpected costs, for example at tax time. And I'll talk a lot more about sourcing products from overseas in the next episode. You should also take a look at my upcoming episode on flipping or the resale market, because that's also a great avenue for marketplace sellers to look at. I'll be posting lots more information in the weeks ahead, so make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or my podcast to keep up to date. I'll see you next time.